Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and we're continuing with a look back at the 1978 television series Battlestar Galactica, the science fiction television series Battlestar Galactica, the original Battlestar Galactica. Even if I do love the 2003 reboot version or the reimagined version as they call it, this one is still much more near and dearer to my heart. So we're coming to a double-parter episode which is absolutely awesome. It's called The War of the Gods, guest starring Patrick Macnee, who is famous for being one half of the Avengers, not the Marvel Avengers, but the British television series Avengers. Although I've never seen them, I do know about that particular series. And this is a great actor who's also got an awesome voice. He is also the same person who voices the Cylon Imperious leader, and he's also the same voice that you hear in the beginning of the episodes, where he basically says there are those who believe that life here began out there, and that particular monologue. So as we start the first part of the episode, you have a recon pilot of Vipers led by Bojay, who goes out and looks for possible threats. They are confronted by odd balls of light that passes by through them very quickly. They start emitting a huge noise which incapacitates them, and behind them there is a larger ship that is almost like a city ship made of light that overtakes the patrol, and basically all of these Vipers go, they are knocked out. All right. While still searching for them, on the Battlestar Galactica, nobody is aware of what's happening right now. There is a game of triad, which to me is basically like basketball and squash and things like that mixed together. It's 2 players each team, and Boomer and his friend, I don't know who the fourth individual is, they keep losing to Starbuck and Apollo, who are the reigning champions. And when they find out that Bojay's patrol has gone missing, Starbuck and Apollo go searching for them, and Sheba, because Bojay is basically almost like family to her, he's almost like a brother to her, she decides to join on. They are led to a particular planet which is habitable. However, there are no inhabitants on the planet, and they find a wreckage with some radion field in it. They try to approach the wreckage. However, a completely unscathed man in robes from behind calls them and says not to go because of the dangers of the particular wreckage. And this man is Count Iblis. Now, Iblis is the name in the Quran known for the devil, right? And is a prankster and all that things. I believe he's also known in other mythology as well. So he's supposed to be the fallen angel, the devil, and all this, the incarnation of evil, basically. However, they don't know that he is that. They think that he's just a man. And also, one more thing: the vegetation on the planet, entire thing, is got a red hue. So throughout, while they are on that particular area, everything is in with a tint of red. The vegetation, even the people have a little tent look. So while at the crater of the wreckage, this man Iblis says the radion levels are too high, and he tells that he can help them, but they were not destroyed. The ship was not destroyed by the Cylons, but it's by the great powers. That's all he says. He doesn't elaborate on that more, and he seems to be completely no, there are no injuries on him. He survived unscathed, but he says he was on the ship, and he's the only survivor. The scanners don't appear to work, so they can't find out if there is something wrong with him. Apollo also thinks that maybe he hit his head a little bit, and that's why he seems to be a little odd. Sheba, however, is completely floored by the charms of this man, and you can also feel the fact that she is missing her father quite a bit, and she sees kind of her father in this. She's looking for a father figure basically at that point of the time. She is, to be honest, an orphan right now. And he says he doesn't know how he survived, but he says my knowledge of the universe is infinite, so I can actually help you. And then he says, could we actually leave the planet? So Apollo stays back with Sheba and Count Iblis, and he asks Starbuck to go back to the Galactica and get a shuttle, and while he's away, the balls of lightning passes through the planet. It affects Sheba and Apollo, but it doesn't seem to affect Ibli at all. And he says they're the ones who actually destroyed the ship, and they're actually seem to be looking for him. So as long as they can leave the planet quickly, they will be safe. While on the Galactica, they introduce him, and they are, he says that he can deliver them, he can help them quite a lot. He is imperious to the scanners, the medical scanners. He seems to be in perfect condition, but there's something really odd about him, and Adama doesn't trust him from point one, and that's because he is old and wise. Adama, that is. So Sheba is, however, the only one who seems to be completely stuck with him. So he says he can deliver the, after doing a few tricks, he says he can deliver the enemies. Apollo is the main one who's actually not convinced, and he doesn't buy it. He doesn't really believe in Ibli. However, Ibli says that he's got a lot of. He tells Adama and the Council of the 12 that he has a lot of powers, and that he says, if you give me 3 tasks, then I can definitely show you, and if I perform those tasks, will you follow me? And they say yes. So the first task is he fills there are a lot of people still struggling for food, so he goes and fills the coffers with food, and the people start celebrating, and slowly people start thinking it might be the fact that they could actually follow this guy, if he might be their their redeemer, their savior, and all that stuff. So that's basically what he shows. The second task the second one was actually that he would bring their enemy to his knees and bring him to them. He delivers the enemy basically. Baltar is brought to. That was a really funny part. I mean, I don't know why Baltar would actually do that, but on hearing about the current situation, Baltar decides to give himself up, and he surrenders to the Battlestar Galactica and is arrested. So that was that. So food, bringing Baltar, and so there's celebrations on the ship. He said, the third one is that he says he knows the way to Earth. He can actually guide them to Earth. So almost everyone is convinced except Adama and a small set of people who are loyal to him, and they they are not convinced by his abilities. Adama knows that this person is not who he says he is. I mean, he's actually human. So he also helps. Boomer says that he would like to at least once beat up Apollo and Starbuck, and in another game of Triad, he possesses Boomer, and with his abilities, Boomer and Boomer's partner happens to defeat Starbuck and Apollo. There are moments where he shows his rage. He even kind of manipulates Sheba a little bit. She is completely drawn towards him. He says he'll protect her. There's another approach of the balls of light, and what happens is she's frightened, and he says he'll protect her. He's completely manipulating her throughout throughout the events. So finally, Adama, after speaking to Adama, Apollo is able to cloud his thoughts. This is something that he would learn while in the academy in lessons in terms of probing by say one of their enemies, by their Cylons. So he clouds his mind, and he decides to go to the planet to investigate the wreckage and find out. Starbuck follows behind him, and when they reach the wreckage, Sheba also reaches. Knowing that they are there, Sheba goes in a shuttle and comes up to there, and the three of them find. They don't actually show what it is, but when they go inside the wreckage, they actually see. And I had to look it up to find out what the scene was actually cut off, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's because they found something who was a half man and half goat or like with cloven feet or something like that. So this is what it says. Inside they could find in the shape of a cloven hoof, and it's supposed to be the figure of the devil or a demon. And they realized that that was actually Count Iblis, and then he took up he took up the human body later. So when they discovered this at the ship, from out of nowhere, Iblis also reaches the planet, and he forbids them to go inside. However, they already see it, and he threatens Apollo, and he says he's going to knock down Sheba while he puts a wave of light against them, to kill her. Apollo steps in, and Apollo is killed instead. However, because he is a fallen angel, when I say he's not a fallen angel. He is the beings that are supposed to be, the keepers of the universe. He had all the powers that they do, but they have a kind of like in Stargate. These beings are supposed to not interfere. They're just supposed to be watching over, and that's it. They're not supposed to, because their powers are immense and they could cause a lot of damage if they interfere with regular mere mortals. So what happens is, the other thing I forgot to mention is, when Starbuck shoots at Count Iblis, when the laser basically passes through him, you can actually see his original form, which is like kind of like a demon with horns. So they're the beings of light. That's the creatures, and Iblis is he is caught by them, and he is he has to leave immediately. I don't think they actually catch up with him, but he has to leave because he made a fatal mistake. He killed Apollo, and the only way that he can actually kill someone is if they give themselves to him. Sheba at that moment had he killed her, the beings of light would not have chased him away, because would not find a problem with him, because she actually did give herself to him, but Apollo did. Since it was Apollo who was killed, the beings of light do take have some cause for anger against him. They don't want to interfere, but because Apollo was not supposed to be killed, they take the three of them into their ship, and they restore Apollo. He is now back alive. While they're on the ship, even their outfits are completely white, including the gun for some reason, including their weapons for some reason. So they talk to them and say that once we were like you, many millennia ago we were like you, but now we have advanced to a certain particular stage in their evolution where they are beings of light, and they just appear solid to communicate with these people, and they bring them back to the Galactica, and they also implant the location of Earth into them, into the three survivors, and they go on their merry way. That's at the ending of the two-parter episode, and that is one of the best episodes for the series, as well as throughout any of the science fiction series. There's a lot of things that I do want to that I don't know about. A lot of unanswered questions and all that stuff. Found it funny that they included a character who's known as the devil, basically in this. But yeah, they gave him the name. Excuse me. I didn't need to yawn. But I did find that odd. Yes, you can have the forces of darkness along with the forces of light, and he was originally from the forces of light, but because of his evilness, he's become a different entity altogether. But I would definitely love to know more about their mythology, so to actually find those out. But it was very interesting. So, and of course, awesome acting by Patrick Macnee as the guest star in this double parter. I give this a 9 out of 10 because it's pretty good. My only concerns are the unanswered questions, which sadly we may never ever get to know because of the situation that it was from 1978 to 1979, and the series got cancelled after one season. But I am interested in reading up a lot more about this. So that's my rating for this particular double parter episode, which is one of my favorites, and this is the reason why I find it really sad that this show got cancelled. Anyway, We'll catch up on the next episode pretty soon. It is late in the night. It's almost 12 o'clock. So I am going to try and watch a movie and go to bed. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Have a good night.